All right, Internet, hello and welcome to our Platinum semifinal, the second of the day and the last of the concurrent streams that's going on right now. I'm Alex H&A22, and with me is Sean, General Vici, Walter Meyer. We're about to get into game number one, which is between Mingos and Reign of Kings. Mingos coming in as the number one seed, presumably, from their conference, the
Ended.
no, Ascended? Ascended
Ascended.
Conference. Yes. And then, of course, Reign of Kings coming in off of their win in the quarterfinals from the Darken Conference. We're already in picks and bans. First three bans coming out from Mingos, Diana, Tristana, Seraphine. On the other side, Reign of Kings are going to ban out three junglers now that Morgana has been changed. Nocturne, Morgana, and Udyr. And then the first pick will be the Rumble for Mingos.
Yeah, and it's always fun to have it for me going into drafts right after a patch, especially a big shakeup patch like we just got. Because, like, suddenly Morgana, Diana, or jungle used to it to be just Udyr, Hecarim. Udyr's still banned even though he got nerfed, and now the changed Rumble getting picked up as a first pick
Yeah,
with
I
the
love
Kai'Sa
I
Jarvan
love Rumble as a
response.
champion, and trying to push him back into the top lane with some of those changes. He now has stacking magic resist reduction on the Electro Harpoons, I think, and increased percent max, or actually, he just added percent max health damage onto his overheated auto attacks, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah, he got a lot of bonus stuff for melee fighting it against tankier champs. Also makes him stronger jungle, because he now clears faster, so that's
Yes, I
possibility to
noted
look
that
for.
too. I was like, you know what this means? It means Rumble Jungle maybe he's coming back, probably not, but okay. Still can't break Scuttle Crab, and he probably can't really fight 1v1s in the jungle when you don't have the benefit of poking through minions. So Lulu Vayne will be picked up for the bottom lane, presumably of Mingos, and then Reign of Kings on the other side. They had picked up the Kai'Sa and the Jarvan. Looks like their third pick might be. It is going to be a Vladimir. This champion got slightly buffed this patch, wasn't it? Or was it last patch? One of the two.
He got buffed 2 patches back by a second off Q, and then they moved it back up to be 0.6 seconds.
Okay, so they're like,
So basically buffed from a few patches ago by 0.4 seconds off of his Q cooldown
got it.
is the net changes
I do remember
that he
that
got.
there were a number of champions, Rumble and Vladimir included, where they're like, these are some really good buffs, and they're like, okay, we maybe overdid it. Let's nerf them a little bit. Anivia Malzahar going to be banned away by Reign of Kings in the second rotation. Compare that to the Alistair Nautilus on the side of Mingos, pinching mid lane and support the positions that they had already picked up that were not picked up by their opponents.
Yeah, and it is fun just looking at it right now, because Rumble with Lulu Vayne isn't typically something you see. You typically want more CC with Vayne or just secondary damage carry. Rumble's a lot more mid game, along with Lulu Vayne's really, really hyperscaling late game.
Right.
So that's always fun just to see if it's like a band-aid for Rumble or they're just picking it anyway. Also could be a flex, but they are hovering Victor, which would be kind of whack because you've got Rumble Victor in solo lanes, which are two good AP threats, but they don't really help the hyper carry Vayne comp.
That
Uh,
would.
Yes, Galio would, and Galio is also very fun when you've got a Jarvan on either team, because unlike Camille, where it's just enemies, you are setting up terrain with J4, so you can trap your own team in the Galio ult, or you're going in and getting locked in with the Galio ult coming down anyway. And it does look like, based on hovers, it is going to be Rumble Jungle, so that's going to be very fun.
Oh, okay, interesting. I have always been a big fan of Rumble Jungle. I used to play it like a ton when I main jungle. And Rumble, in my opinion, is one of the most fun champions to play just in general in the game. The Thresh was picked up for Reign of Kings, and now they'll look to pick up what looks maybe their top laner, unless it's Vladimir top lane. I would imagine it's Vladimir mid, but I could be wrong about that. They might spring something on us. They banned Anivia Malzahar, which are strong champions in their own right, but also the two champions that really give Vladimir a hard time in lane, and they'll lock in the Malphite as the last pick for that top lane.
Yeah, I do like the Vladimir more than top right now. I just feel it's a lot easier for him to play safe and less poor matchup, especially with the buffs. Malphite, pretty good matchup in an R. You can just go Q-Max with Comet, take him. I will say with the Gnar, I noticed them hovering stuff like Cho and San. I think that would have been a bit better to go just to give them some form of engage, because right now they're with no like hard engage. Sure, you can do it with an R, but it's pretty timing dependent. You can play around it pretty easily. So
Yeah,
instead, it
yeah.
looks like they're
You
going to
have
be,
certain windows where you're not actually able to do your engage if Gnar is your primary way to engage, whereas Jarvan Malphite, they can kind of go whenever they get the opportunity.
yeah. But it does mean that one team is entirely disengaged. You've got Lulu, Vayne, Galio, Gnar. Those are good disengagers. The other team has got Jarvan, Vladimir, Malphite, Kaisa. So already see exactly what both teams want to do, where one team is kind of pulling back and playing with the punches, and the other team is just kind of like going off the springboard and full on diving them.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing too, because normally what you see is the team that has more range is the one with the less reliable engage power. And Mingos, they have like very, very slight range discrepancy just because they have a Gnar who's throwing boomerangs around. But not anyone else has really, strong poke abilities or strong like ability to auto from range like something like a Caitlyn would. So I think, in my opinion, I think Reign of Kings really has a lot easier to use draft than Mingos does.
Yeah, I'll hard agree on that point because I do notice it now that you pointed out that like you have Rumble Harpoons as poke. Like Galio doesn't have very good Winar Boomerang, but that's not much damage. Uh, in a team comp where you want the enemy to come into you, but if they just kind of walk forward at you with Malphite Jarvan, you kind of have to back up from that, or you get full engage comped on. But then you can't really go forward. But yeah, so Reign of Kings has easier, but I think that Reign of Kings also has it harder in a way because if they screw up, they're going into Vayne Rumble without one-shotting them, and there's no like good way to keep track of Vayne. Like, yeah, you can Malphite ult, but if you don't one-shot on the ult, there's no targeted ability to kind of
Right, right.
knock down a hyper carry Vayne with Lulu ult. So there's a lot easier of time for Reign of Kings to go in, but it's also easier for them to mess up. I feel like, if that makes sense.
That's fair. So it's basically just does Reign of Kings pull off their wombo correctly? If they do, they win. If they don't, they lose. Right? Well, of course, assuming Mingos also kind of plays it somewhat correctly. But
Yeah,
a lot of the onus is on Reign of Kings in order to turn these team fights in their favor.
yeah. I would
Okay.
say comp easier. It's easier from Reign of Kings, but like individual play, it's easier from Mingos.
Okay,
Is
I see.
how I would divide
You're
that up.
not relying as much on coordination to one-shot the Vayne Rumble before
Yeah.
they come down from the Malphite ult. That
Yeah, it's
makes
a
a lot
lot
of
better
sense.
about Gnar finding his one good ult, or Vayne managing to outplay everyone, or Rumble landing that really good equalizer. Whereas Reign of Kings are a lot more on, like, the team has to play well together. So that'll be fun. I always like seeing comps with different styles and different win cons and just seeing which team kind of pilots it better.
Yeah, I think I would much rather be Reign of Kings in this particular draft, though. Uh, with Rumble, a lot of times you do want the like Rumble wants champions on his team that can CC people on top of his ultimate, and they don't really have a ton of easy to access or reliable CC on their team.
Yeah, and it's also enemy comp is pretty good against it. You have Lantern to get someone off the carpet. Jarvan and Malphite have very easy ways to get around the carpet. Kaisa can avoid the carpet. Vlad can pool under it. So like a lot of it's gonna be like he has to be very patient with his rumble because if he throws it early in the fight, then they just use their engage to get off of it, and suddenly you're without equalizer. Holding it until they blow their engage is probably the best bet, but there's still mobility and stuff to get away from it. So gonna be pretty hard for that really good equalizer, but it is going to be a powerful counter engage tool if they do layer it correctly.
Yeah, it's like it's basically like Mingos in the majority of situations they just can't start fights, and I think that that's problematic, because if you're ahead but you can't ever get a fight started, then what are you going to do? You just sort of stand there and look at each other for a while, and then you decide, okay, A ramming is dumb, let's go somewhere else. And but it's hard. I think it's
Yeah.
really hard for Mingos just based on team comp. But who wins if Ilos Rachel and Adam Suki in the jungle just sort of run into each other between Rumble Jarvan? Because I don't think either of them are particularly strong 1v1 champions. Like it takes them a while to kill each other, and I don't even know which of them will win in the long term.
Yeah, I would give that edge to Rumble. He's got more cooldowns than Jarvan does and just more damage. Because like Jarvan, yeah, you auto attack better, but your only real damage is like initial upfront damage is Flag and Drag, and Rumble can shield that. And then you're fighting into Flame Spitter with no real way to dodge it. He can like harpoon you extra damage on his autos as well from the overheat. So it won't be like a quick and easy win for Rumble, but I do think he just wins the straight 1v1. And especially because his lanes have a bit more prio. Early on. At
Oh,
least
really?
mid will.
I
Yeah,
feel
at
like.
least mid
Oh
will.
no, yes, yes. I was like, no, I thought Galio, and then I was like, oh yeah, Galio is on his team. That's correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say
usually you
Galio
see.
definitely should have the prio in this lane early on.
Yeah, because usually you see the Galio with the Jarvan for the combo. This time they're like making a combo, but using the other team to make it. It's like Texas Hold'em.
All right. So during all this conversation, we have waited out finally the 3-minute delay for game number one, which is between Mingos and Reign of Kings. The winner of this this semifinal will go on to the finals to play against Puri Tengang, which took down AOE CC earlier today.
Yep, and we are finally in game on the red or on the blue side, excuse me, is Mingos with Nathaniel later in the top playing Gnar, Adam Sugi taking Rumble in the jungle, Rally with the Galio mid, and Chandler Clark with the Vayne bot, supported by Gabe Kotsky.
Kotsky. On the red side, it is Reign of Kings coming in from the Darken Conference with Renji in the top lane on Malphite, I Loves Rachel in the jungle on Jarvan, Hestega in the mid lane on Vladimir, and in the bottom lane is Just Do It and Randy Newman on Kaisa and Thresh, respectively. They are stacking in this brush, getting ready for potentially a delayed invade onto the enemy red buff, but there is a ward in the try that will spot them out as soon as they enter into it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how this level one's going, because like sometimes if you're wanting to do this invade, you take the sweeper on a jungler or something. Doesn't even look like they're going for it. They're just kind of sitting. And like for Mingos, like they had 4 bush camping, which is fine, and then like Gnar off, just getting vision on the other side, which normally if you're 5 stacking or like stacking like that, you take
Yeah,
all
yeah.
5 because you're
I think
assuming you're
that is
getting
kind
into
of
a
weird.
5v5 fight.
I thought the same thing. Like if you're gonna stack, you might as well have all 5. Otherwise, just 5 points so you can back off whenever they're coming. But instead, they opt to kind of do this weird halfway point. They're not punished for it because they don't go for the late invade, and both junglers are just gonna start off on their bottom side buff.
Yeah, and I guess to be fair to Mingos, like even if it does turn into a 5v4, it's like Thresh, possibly Kaiser are the only two that I would consider good at it from Reign
The
of
good
Kings.
level 1. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because like Vlad's pretty useless, Malphite's pretty useless, Jarvan's pretty useless, and you have like Galio, Lulu isn't bad, Rumble can like AoE everyone down with Flame
Mm-hmm.
Spitter.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm guessing that
Pretty
that's,
strong 1v or level 1 champions rather.
yeah, at least a bit stronger. But yeah, I do think that it's probably a 5 sec, but nothing came of it. So at this point, we're just talking semantics. We already get a.
Early hook onto Gabe Kochski doesn't really mean too much other than a little bit of damage, but it is going to be the level 2 gank from I Loves Rachel. Randy Newman doesn't have his cooldowns back up. Flag and Drag is going to knock out Chandler Clark. He gets the Ignite, flashes away. He does not burn the Summoner heal, and they'll get away with that one. It's an Ignite traded for a Flash, but a lot of information. I Loves Rachel clearing 2 camps and then coming bot side immediately. We'll see if that ends up with anything for Adam Suki.
Yeah, and I don't like that choice for level 2 gank. Like, Jarvan is one of those junglers who in the past has been known for his level 2 ganking. It was back with like him and Camille. But usually when you do that, you want to start red buff, because otherwise your ganks kind of suck. Because you're like knock up for 1 second and then that's the end of the gank other than hitting him. So you want red buff to slow. And this is also not the meta for it, because right now we are in power clear meta for jungle. When they'll catch up, XP really sucks to fall behind, and you're already basically, what, like 30 seconds behind now on the full clear for your camp on Jarvan, who's already
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
fast
quite a
clearer.
bit. Um,
So, yeah, that's. pretty rough. I mean, you did get Vayne's flash, so if your bot lane uses that right and like gets a CS lead like they're doing, that's fine because Vayne is the only real carry for Mingos. Like, yeah, other champs can do damage, but with this kind of comp, you're really putting all your eggs in the Vayne's gonna three-shot everyone basket. So like, in that case, it might work out and sacrifice per jungle, but it does mean that already two camps behind and Jarvan's giving up his topside camps and skipping wolves, and I don't know what he's doing with
Yeah,
it, so that's
I'm really
gonna.
confused as to what he's doing here because now he's on the bottom side. He's getting that crab, presumably because he saw that Adam Suki was already in the. They actually saw each other in that river as Adam Suki secured that topside crab. So he feels the need to go for a crab, and I don't know if this is going to pay off for him because now it looks like his only option is to gank onto Rally. Nope, he's going to go for red side camps for enemy side camps on the red side. Adam Suki just
Yeah,
taking a recall. He's 3 camps ahead of Ilos Rachel right now and getting a good time to recall.
yeah, I think that going for Krugs there was his only spot, and I do like that choice, but like he had probably the most inefficient jungle pathing I've seen in a long, long time. As we do get to scrap top, and Renji might be in some trouble here.
Yeah, wow, that Boulder Toss did a ton of damage. Nathaniel Lanier flashes. He goes mini at the perfect time. First blood solo kill for Nathaniel Lanier on that Gnar. Here we go. Adam Suki's found Ilos Rachel in a bad spot. He gets the hook off, and he's going to be able to flash flag and drag out of there. Hestega comes down looking for the ignite onto Gabe Kochki. A teleport coming in from Rally as well. Randy Newman will burn down to the Flame Spitter. Chandler Clark jumps forward. Rally does not get the taunt off. Justice Punch into the wall. Just do it on the run. Hestega is now taking Silver Bolts to the face. He's going to turn around and try and turn this fight, but he's just going to go down to the Silver Bolts. Actually, it's going to be a Glitter Lance for Gabe Gotchki, who picks up the kill onto that one, and Just Do It ends up burning the Flame Splitter from the flanking Rumble. 4 kills to 0 for Mingos.
That was rough, we'll say. Yeah, just that was really, really bad for Reigning Kings. They had the Jarvan like was kind of forced into taking Krugs because of his bad pathing. Like you can see how many camps were up. He had Wolves up, he had Red up, he had Krugs up that he couldn't go for. And so he felt the need to go for that. But that baits his team into a really, really rough spot. You have Vlad, you have Jarvan. In the early game, those champs don't really do a lot in these kind of fights. And like Vayne isn't a super slouch in her game. Like yes, she's worse early lane than a lot of ADs, but she can still do damage. As this might be a kill if the hook lands. There's no flash.
They're not even gonna go. They don't even need the hook. Just do it. Just flies in with the Dark Passage, and they do enough damage that they get a kill onto Chandler Clark. A little bit of an overstay there from the Vayne, maybe. But overall, still in a fairly good spot for Mingos.
Yeah, that was kind of a necessary kill back just to have it. And yeah, just like going back to my point earlier, they don't really have the champions to be fighting those kind of brawls, especially before 6, because they do spike a lot harder at 6. And because of that,
wow,
oh my
a lot of
gosh.
oh, that's enough damage. Gabe Kochki gets caught by a hook and ends up dying. Ilos Rachel now in the Rift Herald pit is just gonna have to flag and drag out of there, missing the Mega Gnar off from Nathaniel Lanier in the attempt to catch, but that cooldown is fairly low to begin with. Adam Suki going to secure the Scuttle Crab and turn around onto Ilos, Rachel, and Hestega. They're going to go for the 3v2 here. The Ensemble Force lands onto them. There's the ultimate coming in from the Galio. They're going to get a 2-man taunt off, but do they have the damage? They are going to finish off Ilos, Rachel. Renji now is the focus. Nathaniel Lanier trying to cut it out with the Grasping and Dying. Gets a double kill for himself. Will go down to Hestega, and now it's a mid lane brawl. Rally and Hestega are just going to trade blows back and forth as they walk back towards their lane. All right, no one's going to get a kill here. Good little bit of trading back from Reign of Kings, showing some signs of life after a little bit of a misplay in the early game.
Yeah, that's a really good win for them. Like, yes, it was 2 for 2 overall, but I do think it goes to their advantage. Vlad got ahead for that. Jarvan, yes, he's behind, but you don't really care if your tank Jarvan's behind. Malphite is also behind, but that's kind of same story. Gnar did get the kills, which will be annoying in the side lane, but Malphite's decent at holding for that. And getting a Vlad ahead against that kind of team comp is really, really big. Because, like, yes, there's no way to, like, hard lock down the Vayne for any Kings, but there's also absolutely no way to lock down a Vladimir if he plays his cards right in the late game. Lots of like, conditional CC that he can fairly easily pool under, I'd say. And then just lots of good targets, because Lulu can only save one person, usually with ult and shield. And Vlad can nuke an entire team if he puts the mind to it. So if he gets ahead, that's really good, and it's not the worst for the tanks to be the ones
Oh,
dying.
good death sense lands on a Gabe Kotchki. He's gonna flay him backwards. There's the equalizer drop down from Fog of War. Randy Newman has to flash away. Ilos Rachel was in the area. That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to lantern in the Jarvan, but the equalizer dropped underneath them, forcing them to disengage before they really even get to do anything. Ignite traded for the flash on the supports there.
Yeah, I like that counter gank from Adam Suki, who's in a really good spot for the Jarvan gank coming as almost just kills him. Okay, yeah, just sitting and going through at the lane, able to turn that gank around and get the extra flash off of the Thresh. Not much else got for it, and you did use the first equalizer on a not kill, which isn't always the best thing because like a lot of like some other junglers like Jarvan and or not Jarvan, well kind of Jarvan, but like Nocturne and whatnot, you really do want that first ult to be pretty impactful. Almost off of cooldown already though. Forgot how short that was after all of the buffs to it way back a few patches ago, maybe even last season. And so that'll be up in time for the next fight.
Yeah, Nathaniel Lanier is going to get pushed a little bit out of lane there by Renji. He's coming down to support Adam Suki in his pursuit of the Scuttle Crab. Ilos Rachel will not get a chance to even get in there. You're seeing the jungle CS discrepancy start to balloon a little bit here.
Yeah, still actually relatively close. You can see about 3 camps behind, which was the early game. So able to still keep even in
Four
farming
at this point, right?
despite being behind. Yeah, might be 4. Yes, 4 is falling far behind. My mistake.
Five
Math
now,
is hard.
actually.
Don't do it on stream.
Ilos Rachel doesn't have anything to farm except for those wolves now, which he's going to clear about the same time as Adam Suki. Things quieting down a little bit. It's about 700 gold between the two teams right now. That's not a whole lot after what happened earlier on. Second dragon will be coming up in about 12 seconds, and it looks like Adam Suki's already heading towards that area with Rally, shoving in that mid lane, ready to support him in that area.
Yeah, and they do have control over it, and I'm pretty sure you give this as Raider Kings. I don't think they win the fight right now versus a Vayne. Like, yes, they're sitting on a lot of gold. Actually, a bunch of people are, but I think
Play
that
from
the
Randy Newman
sixes
comes
are
out.
just a bit better for the moment, and they're not really in position for it. So I think you give over the dragon here.
You have to give this one. It's not even worth your life to go for this one. He's gonna flash play in for the steal. He does get the steal off, but the equalizer burns him alive immediately. Hastega is in there. Wildgrowth comes in on the Chandra Clark. There's the hero's entrance as well. Adam Suki is just willing to give his life, but they don't have to. He's gonna back out now as the box goes down, trying to disengage. It's a 1-for-0, but the dragon was stolen for Reign of Kings. Is that worth it?
Ask me again in 5 minutes when flashes start coming back off cooldown if it's worth or not. We'll see how many kills were given up because they used literally all their summoners and ults in the time in order to get that dragon. Was a very nice steal from I Loves Rachel as Renji's in a bit of trouble. We can actually turn it with ult and Q.
There's the Assemble Force. Nice flash away by Nathaniel Lanier, but now Renji is forced to flash away as well. That one more auto attack would have been the hyper proc that got the kill. And a bit of an awkward situation for both of these top laners up there.
Yeah, Jarvan is in the area, but Nar has ult as... Yeah, I would say
He just used it on minions. He just used it on minions. But he's level 9. He's not. There's no way he's gonna die here. Well, he might. Teleport coming in from Renji. Nathaniel Lanier does not have the crunch available. Renji's gonna look for the seismic shard or the slow. Are they gonna be able to finish him off under tower? The teleport coming in from Rally. They do get the shutdown. Renji's gonna take a couple more tower shots, and now will the Galio finish him off? The Pronobelt forward and the taunt. That's gonna be everything they need. Renji's gonna trade 1-for-1 off of his teleport. That's really not great for the top laner of Reign of Kings.
Yeah, I mean, sort of a
wow, and the equalizer going to be dropped down in the Scuttle Crab fight. Smite has been used by Ilos Rachel. Flag and drag out, looking for the Blast Cone. Hastega trying to support the retreat. Will be able to make it out of there, and it will be the ultimate for Adam Suki used to secure that crab.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on top lane there. Even more going on mid. Nice pool. But yeah, that's... I don't want to call it a Shinshin TP because it did work out and that he got a kill from it, but he also TP'd back to lane and died immediately after. So kind of fits the definition. Not quite sure if it's worth. I guess he lost the wave to tower that he might have been able to get if he had just TP'd there. Jarvan didn't have ult, Malphite didn't have ult, so that's why they had to chase him so far, and as a consequence of that, they do lose the Rift Herald for it, which is gonna be pretty big, because now they just get to drop it mid. Vlad's already low, so he has to give it up. They might just be able to get the full tower and all the topside camps of Jarvans that just came up. Might even
Oh,
be able to
Nathaniel
die
Laner
them. He
jumping
does have
in
pull.
behind the tower. Hestega's there. Does go mini. He can't use his Mega Gnar now, and Nathaniel Laner just dies to the tower. Adam Suki is continuing to burn the Flame Spitter onto Ilos Rachel. Are they going to be able to finish him off? Yes, he will. Jarvan goes down in between his own two towers as the bottom lane fight looked to be going quite well for Reign of Kings, but Renji's here. Unstoppable Force used. Adam Suki gonna go down, and now that means Rally's gonna go down too. He's gonna flash into the enemy red buff. We'll be able to make it out of there for a while now. They're gonna continue the chase. Rainy Newman hooks onto a minion. Chandler Clark doing a lot of damage with the help of the Lulu empowerment. Wild Growth comes out, but it's enough. Plasma procs from Just Do It. Chandler Clark goes down a solo. Well, it's not solo, but 2v2 kill in favor of Reign of Kings in the bottom lane.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff going on there. That's a lot of fun. So I do like the attempt from Mingos to go mid with a few people, force Vlad off, get tower, but then they dove between the towers and got caught by the Jarvan in the process. Really good chase down there. Vlad was sitting on, I think, about like 2,500 gold or something when that fight was starting, so he just got a big buy of full Night Harvester. Bot lane 2v2 fight, this is what happens when you don't press tab before you start fighting, because one ADC had his Kraken Slayer done, the other one had a pickaxe, which is a pretty big power difference and means that Vayne just gets popped despite the Lulu ult. And that is a really, really good sequence of events for Reign of Kings. They have their Vlad in a really, really good point now. Kai'Sa's starting to pull way ahead in the bot lane fight. Getting the Vayne behind is really nice. And getting also close to first item completions for the top side to get tanky. Kind of funny to look at where you have the carries, as we might be getting into another fight here.
Yeah, Hestega just going to go for a little bit of damage on the rally, but he'll take a lot back in return thanks to that taunt into Electro Harpoon. Hestega needs to back towards his team. Chandler Clark and Gabe Kutchke on the flank, but it will be the Scuttle Crab secured by Reign of Kings. They really want to get this this second dragon for themselves, actually. I forgot about that steal that happened earlier. They have rotated Renji down here, but he does not have Unstoppable Force just yet. They're gonna look for a Dark Passage in, Flash Flay, or Flash Forward. They're gonna get the Flag and Drag, but they're not gonna knock up on the Chandler Clark. Cataclysm is keeping him in place, but it falls down now. Here's Renji looking for the Unstoppable Force. They don't want it because the hero's entrance has already come down. Rally with a preemptive use of that ultimate. I don't know if that's good or not because now the Unstoppable Force is available for this fight.
Yeah, this is kind of an awkward spot. You definitely can't fight this as Mingos. They have Unstoppable Force up. You use Galio, you use Lulu ult. Have to give this dragon. I don't know if it's worth from Reign of Kings though. They gave Gnar full topside tower. Renji coming down about 30 seconds for his up, which does mean he's first to the play, but also means that Gnar gets full first tower plus waves. And Malphite misses out on him. You now see about 30 CS behind, and it's not like it's a hugely impactful soul. Quetzal is really nice for their comp, lots of big, reliable ults, and it's not bad having move speed for them. But does mean that Gnar is gonna kind of get a power spike when he's already ahead of Mythic.
Hestega's already used the pool. The Flag and Drag comes out. Rally is not in it, and he actually just jumped right on top of the red carpet. He's gonna have to back away now. Hestega has no flash. Ilos Rachel gonna go back in, but that's not what they wanted. I thought Adam Suki flashes away. The Hemoplague is gonna pop there. It's not gonna be enough damage, and now
want to do that.
Rally, no mana and no minions, just dies to the tower. What? Justice Punch in there as it went down, and Hestega gets a kill back for no reason.
Yeah, so Jarvan's I a bit understand because I think what happened is the first flag
I think
he
he tried
used
to cue
get
the
over there.
minions, and he didn't realize the flag was still there.
Yeah, that's the bit of a funny whoopsie from the Jarvan goes back in, and Galio decides not to let the Jarvan he wanted to combo with die in vain, so he also decides to kind of back in with a Justice Punch under tower. As meanwhile, we're seeing Malphite TP to Pixel Bush, and they're looking for a bot dive, but there's also no one else in the area, so that was a play.
That was a very strange teleport.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think was it going for bot? Was that the plan? Because I guess that is the closest ward you can get a potential flank on, but Definitely, probably not the best play. Here we go. We got Nathaniel Lanier coming down into the mid lane. Renji's gonna give him a little seismic shard for fun.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not like that bad of an outcome because Lad was able to catch the top wave, so it's not like he abandoned Gnar in his side lane again to get whatever he wanted. Instead, it's just kind of a waste of just a single
Wasted the
cooldown.
summoner spell
No
cooldown.
minions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now Gnar does have TP and another wave building up top lane as no one is also in the area to match it. So that's another crashed wave. More lost CS. You can already see that snowballing ahead as we are going to get a bot fight though.
Oh, nice use of the Cataclysm, canceled out that Condemn, but he doesn't do enough damage. He's just tanked Jarvan, and the Lulu is here. Flag and Drag comes back in. Chandler Clark gonna get jumped on by the Killer Instinct. Here's the Hemoplague on to game Kochski, so it's gonna be a 2-for-1. Renji not going down to rally in the mid lane, and he has to flash out from under the tower again. The red carpet used to thin out the minion wave, but they do still have that cannon there. They're gonna use the smite to clear it out, and Adam Suki will keep the tower alive. It's a 2-for-1 in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and yeah, so that was an outcome. Jarvan went super early on the fight. There was literally no one else in the area when he went on Vayne, so Lulu was able to come in and save her in time. Almost got the solo kill, but once again, the solo lanes are left alone for Reign of Kings. Narg able to get the top tower, Galio fighting mid with Renji, and I believe both of them burned Flash. So that's double summoners down, which I think favors probably the Galio, because you're not as reliant on it as Malphite can be sometimes. And the Galio is, but you do miss it on Flash Taunt, so had to fight mid, but they did leave Gnar to get some more free farm. We're able to get bot tower off of it, got the Red Carpet, so now they're able to rotate their bot lane around. Malphite's in the area, and they should be able to grab a Rift Herald for a lane push of
The
their
Rift Herald's
choice.
gonna despawn like now, so.
Okay, so ignore me.
Oh wow, Adam Suki with a really bad base check into Hashtag and Randy Newman. They're going to throw it on the red carpet, does a little bit of damage, but Randy Newman will be nice and comfortable here at about 60% HP, but just DeWitt is in a lot less comfortable position. The Summoner Heal has already been used and Killer Instinct not available, but they do have enough damage to finish off the tank line. Rally goes down, and it's going to be a Reign of Kings Baron start.
Yeah, that is going to be a 20-minute Baron as Vayne is alone bot lane. I got baited by them moving over to Rift Herald. Mingos also got baited into moving over. They didn't realize the spawn timer either. So they go in to a fight, face check, an objective that didn't exist. And that means that they're right in position for Baron. And what would have been a bad thing of going over getting position for an objective they can't really do while another wave bot is completely lost and gets it. Instead, they turn it into a 20-minute Baron, get a bunch of kills, and put themselves in a very good position this game.
Yeah, and they're ahead about 500 gold right now, and they're down in 2 towers. So there's a lot of low-hanging fruit available for Reign of Kings. Even more low-hanging by the fact that they do have the Baron, which helps them take down those towers. They're gonna prioritize this second Cloud Drake, third for them overall, and a Death Sentence is gonna land, but the Justice Punch comes out. Good play. We'll get him out of there. There's the Hemoplague thrown down. Hasteka goes dominating. The Chandler Clock just instantly dies. Adam Suki throws down the red carpet as well as the stopwatch, and here we go. Randy Newman goes in there. Death Sentence gonna connect onto the Gnar. Gnar about to go. Can he get the Mega Gnar off? It's only onto one person as Just DeWitt is doing so much damage, a double kill, and they're going to get a ton of kills. The Ace, no less, as well as this mid lane tower and the Dragon.
That's a very, very big game breaker for Reign of Kings. I was going to mention, if they gave me time to, for the Dragon fight, that yes, there's a lot of standing gold, but Dragon fight's also a place to lose it all if you don't fight it properly against a very good mid-game team that is still in the mid-game with Vayne, Rummel, Galio. Instead, they do win the fight. They do well getting in position, picking off before Mingos were really ready for it. Mingos kind of just funneling in no real line. Vayne too close to the wall, so she gets engaged on immediately. No damage after, good 3-man Cataclysm, so they're able to win the fight, only get 1 tower, but it is still point now. They got the ace, bunch of gold, have the opportunity to look for more gold, but Baron will probably wear off before they can really get a push. So now it's just about the actual gold lead they have and strong tower diving with all their engage to get the last towers, but they are definitely in a good spot in the game now.
Yeah, I really think that it's just there's too many carry style champions on the side of Mingos. Rumble, Vayne, and Gnar, they really need somebody who has more reliable CC. The Galio's not going to be enough for you. in addition to the fact that he's trying to use the hero's entrance just to keep the Vayne alive, he's not going to be able to lay down a lot of immediate CC, and so they kind of just like get picked off and randomly lose fights. Randy Newman feels very free to just wander in here and put down his own vision. Good. There we go. The taunt kind of coming onto Honda Hastega, but Rally's going to get knocked up by the flag and drag into the descent. The red carpet is not going to be super effective here. Teleport coming in, and they will finish off Rally, but there's the condemn into his own cataclysm, but a new unstoppable force comes out, knocks up both bottom laners. Death Sense connects onto the Gnar. The Jop Pop is canceled. He takes a ton of damage. Adam Suki goes golden, but it's just going to mean that he gets chased down under his tower afterwards. Hastega gets the summoner heal. He's going to get a huge heal off from that one, but he will finally fall down to the hyper proc as well as the tower shot. It's going to be 2 for 4 in favor of Reign of Kings.
Yeah, at this point, they are just turning on the steamroller. You mentioned the point about no front line, no reliable CC, and you are very right about that. They had to get ahead in the earlier game where the enemy comp hasn't fully come online yet. But instead, now they're dealing with a 6-2 Vlad. They're dealing with an 8-1 Kai'Sa. They don't have very great tools to get on top of them or protect their backline. Gnar's not very tanky. Rumble's not very tanky. Galio's not very tanky. Vayne is certainly not tanky. And Lulu can kind of save one of them, but not all of them. And when you're dealing with as much engage and damage as Reign of Kings have, you do just kind of get run over. Between towers, it doesn't matter. They have everything they need to close this game out.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with, well, not has to do with, but I think it's really comforting for Hastega and Just Do It that Isla's Rachel probably went in knowing that they were going to die. But that's totally fine because you've already gotten the flag and drag knockup as well as the cataclysm down. So my job is done. I'm just a meatball now, and I have I have like a couple tank items. I can die, and it'll be fine because my team will win the fight anyway. Nobody can really do that on the side of Mingos. They all kind of need to be alive in order to do their job.
Yeah, there's definitely a lack of suicidal option. You don't have anyone like Jarvan who can just throw his cards between them. That's another good hook in.
That's a huge unstoppable force. The wombo combo comes out. Killer Instinct comes in. Just Do It gets knocked into the wall by the Mega Gnar, and he's gonna flash away back into the red buff pit. Will go down, but the rest of his team looking to try and finish off the remaining members. He flashes over, but he mispredicted where he was gonna go. Nathaniel Laner will be able to walk out of that side, but you know, after all that's said and done, it's not all that bad. Only a 2 for 1. Maybe more if Rally doesn't get out of here.
Yeah, that was a very big wombo that didn't lead as much to the hype. I actually noticed a very good Gnar from Nathaniel Laner. He interrupted the Kai'Sa ult mid-jump, managed to see her down and pick her off with the Galio. So that's pretty much the only saving grace, though, because that is still dragon positioning for Reign Kings. Good hook by Randy Newman, again onto the priority carry. Vayne has not had a chance to free hit in literally any of these fights, because with the Jarvan, the Vlad, the mouth fight, and the Thresh hooks all just landing on top of her. And so, yeah, they did manage to get a Kai'Sa shutdown. That's a pretty good outcome. Do still have Vayne Flash. Will have all ults except Galio, I believe, come up for Dragon. And so in that case, it's not as bad, but it is still rough for them to get in position for this. And it is Soul in a comp that relies a lot on their ults with the Cloud. At least it's not Infernal, as that would definitely be GG, but it is still something you don't want to give that I think they have to.
So I want to ask about the Just Do It's Kai'Sa build too. Is it seems a little bit what's the word? Anti-synergistic, like with your own goals. Meanwhile, the Vladimir might be just caught out. Yeah, Mega Nard into the wall. They're gonna get the mid lane kill. They traded him for the Cloud Soul as well as the potentially first move on this Baron. They are gonna know it started up. Can they win this fight 4v5 without their Vladimir? Randy Newman on the side, doesn't land the hook, so no way in. Renji looking for an unstoppable force. There's Ilos. Rachel goes in for the Cataclysm. Out of there, unstoppable force goes in onto 2 members, but Chandler Clark is alive, and there's the red carpet on the back side. Renji is just getting focused down on the other side. They did trade it for Gnar. Ilos Rachel gonna go in with the flag and drag, not gonna get a knockup. Chandler Clark trying to get some damage off. There we go, the Void Seeker, another hook gonna connect and Just Do It, trying to do a damage again. Chandler Clark is still alive with the help of the shields, gonna go invisible. There's a lot of damage coming up from the Rumble, but there's the flag and drag onto the Vayne, and Vayne will go down. Gabe Kochki is got nobody to support, and he'll get focused down as well. Just Do It flashing away from those Kathy and Rain, but Ilo's Rachel doesn't really care. They're just gonna not continue this chase because they're gonna turn their attention onto the Baron. I think they can still do it. Hastega is back up, and Ilo's Rachel will be able to tank it for the Kaisa, and that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the nail in the coffin for Mingos. I think that was the best situation they could hope for at this point in the game. Our TPing in, so might not be over quite yet. And they will stop the Baron.
Teleport. It's double teleport.
TP.
Rally and Nathaniel Lanier are here. Taunt gonna come out. Flag and drag over the wall. Hastega drops down the Hemo Plague. Nathaniel Lanier gonna be able to disengage that one. Here comes Ilos Rachel back over the wall. And Double Force onto the Galio. They're gonna take him down first. Nathaniel Lanier will be quick to follow. Goes Mega Gnar. Gnars them back away, but no stuns come out. There's the wall. And double kill goes over to I Love's Rachel on the Jarvan.
Yeah, and as I was saying, I think that's nail in coffin. They had about as good a situation as they could ask for. Hastega with a pretty big mistake, in my opinion, walking up when his team was on Dragon and allowing himself to get picked. They tried to start the Baron just for the 4v5. Even then, even with a few mistakes from Renekings in the way they did it, they still weren't able to pull it off. Still lost the team fight. Double TP in afterwards to add a couple more bodies to the pile. And yeah, 5k now, easy Baron setup. With Renekings, they have all the control. Vlad's up this time, will have ult, and it is back on the ticking clock for Mingos to try and do something to not lose.
Yeah, Chandler Clark has picked up a QSS, which I think the only thing you can really QSS in this game is Death Sentence, right?
Yep, literally the only thing, though to be fair to him, he has been getting hit by a lot of Death Sentence.
Right, but like they removed the ability to QSS knockups, so this seems very strange. It's almost like you're expecting to get hooked, which, to be fair, he might be, but
Yeah,
that's not what
certainly
you want,
his
right?
track record in this game has. Yeah, as we do have
It's
Baron
gonna be
start up,
Baron
and another
started by
good hook.
Kings. There's a good Death Sentence, cancels out the Justice Punch, and just do it. There goes Golden Rally, is now standing in the middle of the box, in the middle of Reign of Kings. There's the Cataclysm onto Adam Suki, does not have the Equalizer, must have used it earlier on. Nathaniel Lanier trying to get him from the side, but Adam Suki will just go down. Hastega on the side, trying to finish off Gabe Kotsky. There's the Unstoppable Force onto them after the Wild Growth, and Hastega just pops him from over the wall.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happens in these fights. There's just so much engaged, so much damage on the team, and there's not near enough from Mingos. And yeah, they do go down, and that's kind of the thing about defensive itemization when you're behind and need kills to come back in. Like, yes, you can go the defensive items, but when you're behind like this, you need to be able to kill the enemy, and if you're going defensive items, it makes it harder to kill them. Now, you do need it to stay alive, because the enemy team is ahead and can dive you. Definitely not QSS. I agree with you that he shouldn't be getting hit by Death Sentence in the first place, even though he has been, and you can't really afford to go QSS for one ability that's a skill shot and can be blocked by teammates. But yeah, because of that 1300 gold that isn't damage that he needs to try and kill this Vlad, try and kill this Jarvan, try and kill this Malphite. Either way, I still think they lose because at this point they're just too far behind a pretty brute force engage comp with some good late game, like Reign of Kings has. But yeah, just now they have Baron buff. Now they're pushing in on the base with their side lanes. Can just kind of group up. I think even if they want to dive, there's not a lot Mingos can do to stop them, even though they kind of have to. And I anticipate it ending, if not in this push, then pretty soon after.
Alright, there's the Equalizer, kind of come down, but not a lot of damage on the champions. Renji is starting to get focused down really quickly, actually. Renji almost died. Chandler Clark gonna condemn somebody away. There's the Shirelia's popped, gonna try and get the Mega Gnar in there, but they had already disengaged very quickly. Renji did not die, so ultimately, what looks to be potentially a good fight, Mingos are not able to capitalize on, and again, it's because they just really don't have any power to engage these fights.
Yeah, that was one tick of damage on anyone on Renji to get him down. Really nice equalizer to cut the minion wave while splitting the team up and preventing the carries from hitting. And like, I hate to harp on it, but if he didn't have QSS, that's definitely kill on Renji there. So you can see, like, if they manage to free hit with Vayne Lulu and the enemy carries can't hit backline, then Mingos can win it. Problem is that you are up against full dive comp with Kaisa, who can go in off Malphite engage, and Vlad, who you really can't stop without any good hard CC to do it. And with Elder coming out, that's kind of the last straw gasp of Mingos maybe kind of having the potential to turn it, because you definitely can't Elder fight them. in any sense of the word of glides
Resting
on the flank.
on the flank. He's going to get down into the pool. A lot of damage goes down. Disengage off of the hero's entrance. There's the Cataclysm into 2. Just do it. Jumps to the back line and annihilates both members of the enemy bottom lane. Double kill for the Kaisa already. Nathaniel Lanier gets a big Steric shield, but Raining Human finishes him off. He's going to look for it. Look, gets punched in the face by Rally, but that's going to be the only kill they get as Rally is going to get slowed. It's going to be another kill. It's going to be the ace for Reign of Kings in game number 1.
Yep, really good win from them. They had their game plan, got ahead. They managed to get Vlad a few kills early, weren't able to execute, and I think that with their better team comp, with the ability to go in all together and just run over the lack of front line from Mingos, Reign of Kings will manage to take this first game in a very good win to start off the series.
All right, so we are going to, I don't know how much of a break we have in between this game and game number 2, but whatever it is, we will see you after the break. Thanks so much for watching.
I'm back strong.
Internet, hello and welcome back to our semifinal between Mingos and Reign of Kings. I'm Alex Agent822, and joining me is Sean General Vici Waltermeyer. We're getting into game number 2 between these two teams. Reign of Kings with a 1-game lead off of a well-executed game number 1.
Yeah, they had a good comp. They knew how to play it. Just group up and smash a fist. And uh, Mingo's comp was kind of cardboard, so the fist went right through them and was able to take the win. Now we start seeing if there are any adaptations in the draft. So far, I think it's same bans from game 1. Exactly, even though the teams have switched sides.
Oh,
One
nope. They're
change
going
is
to
the
ban away the Rumble
Rumble.
instead of the Diana, I think. Oh, no. They're enemy team. They banned the Rumble instead of the Morgana.
Yeah. So what that tells me is that Reign of Kings want to first pick Morgana, because I don't think you ban that first game and then leave it over the second game while banning Rumble, which I don't think was too strong game 1, though it did do some work. And yeah, that makes me goes ban it, which leaves up Seraphine, which was their ban the first game on blue side. So I'm wondering if Reign of Kings will take it or if they have a different prior pick in mind.
Yeah, Reign of Kings opting for the blue side this game. They got side selection, and they will first pick that Seraphine, which has been left open. The Diana, Tristana, Morgana bans on the side of Mingos. That's kind of fun to say. Diana, Tristana, Morgana. Um, Seraphine will be left open for Reign of Kings, and they will get that pick. A lot of power in this champion, although a lot of it removed with Staff of Flowing Water having been changed. But still has a super impactful team fight ultimate in the form of that Encore. Vladimir going to be moused over by Mingos, and it will actually, in fact, be locked in. So denial away from Hastega, I suppose.
That and I think Vlad's just strong on this patch. He got the buffs. He's a pretty effective champion. Uh, don't know about the Seraphine in terms of where it's going. There's realistically 3 roles you can flex it between. Might be suboptimal in some of those, but you can still do it and gives them a lot of
Yeah,
options.
I
Vlad's
definitely think
pretty.
I think that Seraphine definitely wants to be in the mid lane. Kaisa is going to be moused over. Lulu picked up for Mingos once again, and Reign of Kings, they're going to say, okay, we know this one. We're going to pick Kaisa. Um, see what they opt for. If the Seraphine will be going towards the support, or will it go towards the mid lane? If you have the Seraphine in the mid lane, it is a little bit low on damage from there, but you got a Kaisa. Kaisa can more than make up for it if the champion gets ahead. Olaf going to be locked in for the jungle on the side of Reign of Kings.
Yeah, I do like that pickup. Leave the flex option open a bit longer. Can match Enchanter supports or make the enemy ban Thresh because Randy Newman had a very, very good game on it in that game 1, as they will be pairing it with Lulu or with Jinx instead of Vayne with the Lulu and going pretty all in on the late game. You see Vlad Lulu Jinx, and you're very much thinking, yes, this team is going late game. Varus a bit more early
Oh,
game focused, so
yeah.
they
Okay.
recognize that Seraphine, Olaf, Kaisa can just run you over if they get going and you take too long to scale up. So
I really don't like the Varus pick with Olaf open. Um,
also true.
I think that Chain of Corruption is really the only meaningful advantage that Varus has over a lot of other marksmen, and Olaf basically negates that. They're going to ban away Lucian, thinking that the Seraphine is potentially in the support role, so they're banning away mid laners from Reign of Kings.
Yeah, I want to keep Vlad from too bad a matchup because Seraphine will let him scale. Of course, there's also the risk that Seraphine has a lot better wave clear and push than Vlad, so you can get advantages from that. Of course, we still don't know where she's going. I definitely agree with you on the Varus point. I think that into Olaf, it's not nearly as strong of a champion. Can, I guess, hold on to ult for if Kaisa decides to ult in the backline with the Seraphine. That's still kind of risky, of course, especially with how hard she is to lock down if she does
Yeah.
it right. I think that probably opting with the Jinx and just going for the best late game you can is a bit better, but we'll see how it works out as we do start to get bans cleared up. Volibear
Yeah.
from the Mingos to try and keep run at you champ away, which you don't want too many run at you champs to be open. Olaf Seraphine already scary enough without adding Volibear on top of it, and we'll see what Reign of Kings want to take off of the table as their last ban.
Volibear, Viego and Cho'Gath banned away in the second rotation by Reign of Kings, and okay, this would be interesting if they pick this up. It is going to be locked in. Mingos just go ahead and say, let's play Zac, I guess.
Yeah, I do actually like Zach as a pick, just in terms of he's very, very annoying to play against, always having to kind of respect his engage range, and with the rest of his team comp, you don't really want to be worrying about a Zach jumping your backline when you're already worrying about a Vlad going in and a Varus DPSing you down. Very hard to deal with Zach if they do
Yeah,
get late game going. I
I
am
think Zac is a
concerned.
great late game champion. I agree with you, but I think that Zac's early game is so horrendously bad that Olaf has the potential to just run over him. Just like walk into the jungle and it doesn't like if your team has any semblance of like not if Mingos doesn't have total priority in their lanes like completely, then the Zac is just gonna get completely destroyed.
Yeah, bringing up my next point, which is that when you're up picking a Zac with the team comps already shown, you are completely, utterly, entirely surrendering the early game to the enemy team in terms of just Olaf has really no one to counter him. And we do see the picks rounding it out. Scion Echo for Reign of Kings, which I do like those choices. Seraphine support is the lock-in. Echo to pressure Vlad a bit more. He can do fairly well in the 1v1, just with his ult to negate some of Vlad's burst, and he does do okay in the longer fights, able to chase him down. And then Darius is the last lock-in for Mingo, so at least they will have one winning lane, but that also kind of leaves the rest of the map in the lurch still. And yeah, I don't know. This will be interesting.
Yeah, I think the Darius last pick for Mingos is actually quite good. It gives you a lot of, like you said, a lot of power in that top lane matchup. Darius naturally does fairly well into a lot of tanks, and Scion especially because you can just yoink him out of his own decimating smash. Uh, and I think that Darius actually has a fairly good time in team fights as well. Given that Olaf and Scion are just going to be in your face, you have a lot of chances to slowly stack up your bleed procs and get your heals off, and then start resetting on the enemy team.
Yeah, especially when you're already worrying about a Vlad and a Zac jumping back line, it's kind of hard to focus a Darius down to let him get stacked up and potentially just get his resets and burn through an entire comp. And another possible concern is that Reign of Kings kind of have the same issue against Vlad that Mingos did last game, where they don't have a lot of targeted I can stop Vladimir lockdown. It's a lot of conditional CC and not the best way to stop him if he manages to play his cards right. Zach too. I do think that they have a solid comp. They have very big frontline Seraphine to support them up, get charms through everyone. Kaisa self-sufficient, can dive into the backline with Olaf and Scion if needed to. Echo as well for good side lane threat, and as well as the potential for team fights if he gets a good flank angle. But Mingos, I think, do have the better late game and will have a very big advantage if it goes to there. And I think that they do have enough tools to potentially keep themselves from getting run over if they play their cards right and team fight well enough mid game.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that well, I don't know. Actually, I think you're right. Vladimir is going to have a much better late game. Zach is going to have, if he ever gets there. If Zach ever gets there, Zach is actually such an insane late game champion. He just continuously gets knockups. He is a mega hyper tank. It's just the problem of getting there is the thing.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think Seraphine is, in spite of being in the support role, which I think is like marginally worse than playing Seraphine mid lane. They perform different roles and purposes, but I think Seraphine is a great late game champion no matter what role she is in, and I think that the Seraphine will outscale the Lulu on the whole in terms of support capabilities. So I don't know. I think both of these teams will be in contention for winning late game fights. It's all going to come down to execution. There's not like a timer on either of these two teams, only on particular champions, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I do think that I did mention that the Vlad still didn't have a lot of targeted lockdown for him. Reign of Kings
Mhm.
comp is better at dealing with Vlad than Mingos was last game. They have actual tanky champs like Sign who doesn't care. Echo usually won't be like grouped up and getting engaged on. Kaisa can shield a lot of his damage, and like Peel herself and Seraphine can also negate a lot of it. So like yes, the Vlad can do pretty much the same thing, but Reign of Kings doesn't care as much about Vlad doing that thing. Still have to care, of course, because Vlad's a pretty scary champ.
Right, yeah.
But
Champion does a ton of damage. You just hope like the Scion and the Olaf can play enough frontline that even if you don't lock him down, he can't actually just walk past them without investing the Sanguine Pool. So at least burn a few half seconds off of that before he can actually get into the back line, right?
yeah, and something else I'm a bit curious about is last game I checked, Hostega did go for the Q max Vlad, but what I actually think is better on mid Vlad is if you put like 3 or 4 points into Q and then just start maxing E, because a lot of mids prio, a lot about mid lane is prio and the ability to quickly shove waves and do things elsewhere. Try and take your advantage from the centermost point of the map into the jungle into a side lane, and Vlad has trouble with that until he gets points in E, so you can kind of just not level Q as hard. Still get a few points for the ability to sustain and stay in lane, but the rest of it into E to try and get faster wave shove. And I kind of wish Astego would have done it last game. Kind of think that it's good this game. Into the Echo, where he will have the quicker shove, and it's not like he can completely get to you. If you play back, he'll want to shove and roam. So if you can like either wave after he's gone and get it shoved faster and potentially back him up, I think it's a bit better than just trying to keep sustain but under tower permanently.
Hmm. Makes sense. Yep. Um, the other thing I just noticed, we had already noted that Varus loses a lot of his effectiveness having been picked into, but the Scion I think also is quite good here because oftentimes like I don't think the Scion very frequently kind of just slowly walks towards you in an opportunity to give you the chain of corruption. Oftentimes he's ulting towards you, and you can't chain of corruption him out of that. So your only option is to dodge the unstoppable onslaught and then chain of corruption him, or just die. Uh, you know, so, I don't know. I really just don't think that this Varus pick is gonna mean a whole lot unless somebody else. And he does have the Zac who can potentially just take the unstoppable onslaught for him and set him up to do a lot of damage from backline, but nobody really wants to take that. And the Kaisa is no slouch when it comes to melting tanks, assuming that just do it ups for the Kraken Slayer build, and even sometimes without it. It's I really do think Reign of Kings. I would much rather be playing Reign of Kings team comp than Mingos again this game.
Yeah, I think Reina Kings has a better early game. Varus will have trouble, but he's not a bad just DPS carry either. In
Yeah,
terms
a
of
lot
just
of
like if
attacks
he's sitting
from
there
the
hitting,
passive.
especially with Lulu, and like yes, his
Yeah,
ult isn't as effective, but I do think that the kind of fights that are going on, Varus, if he doesn't get one shot or run down by Olaf with Seraphine ult on top of him, I do think he can output enough DPS to make a difference. It's just
yes, I
ult
I
won't matter as
completely agree.
much.
I completely agree with what you just said. But then my question is, why did you
Why
not
not
just pick
Jinx?
the Jinx? Exactly, because all those things that you said about Varus, Jinx can also do. Varus's advantage over Jinx is Chain of Corruption, which is for the most part, not entirely again, but for the most part nullified. So just in my opinion, a bit of a questionable pick here. Uh, I am interested to see how Chandler Clark plays this. He played Vayne last game, so this is a little bit different for him. You know, being a little bit more utility, a little bit more range, fair bit of damage, etc., etc.
Yeah. So I do think that seeing Halo Blades has actually reminded me of a different thing that Varus might be used for. I'm wondering if he's thinking about AP Varus in terms of just like you have Halo Blades to get the 3 stacks and then pop it. Because AP
Uh,
Varus is actually really, really good against tanks because you do something like 15% max health per every blight stack, so you actually just one-shot tanks if you get them fully set up. And
yeah,
that
it's
might
really
be
fun.
fun to see. Because like the other options that Varus has other than Chain of Corruption is his off build. Like you can go AP, you can go Lethality. Lethality got nerfed enough, and in this kind of team comp, I don't think it's good. So you'll be wanting some form of DPS. But I wonder if it's AP, and that would be cool if it was.
AP would be really fun to see, I think. Because, and like you said, that would give him purpose to his ultimate, right? Because his ultimate immediately applies 3 stacks of blight. So it's just like, RQ, somebody's gonna die, right?
Yeah,
Maybe?
yeah, maybe. You still have to worry about Seraphine running on top of a charging Scion and Olaf into your backline, but it is a possibility, fun to think about. Don't know if he's actually going to go for it yet. As we do start to see it, Sion's actually over at Chickens, not sure. Looks like just for a ward. And we will have opposite side starts for jungle. You do not want to be same clear path as Zach because that means you will never ever get Scuttle Crab in any timeline that ever happens unless your lane's just super hard stomp, which won't be happening with a Vlad mid. So, good from him to be able to not end up on the same side as Olaf for the Scuttle fight.
Chandler Clark missed half of that first minion wave.
He
It's
did.
not great. I'm just something I happen to notice. That's not like me trying to flame. Even though again, I really don't think Varus is all that great, but like that was just an observation. I'm not trying to flame him. Nathaniel Lanier is going to start pushing in onto Renji. Renji has sort of just opted to play weak side both of these last 2 games. Level 2 has been hit by Just Do It and Randy Newman. Gonna get a good slow on their Gabe Kochski and trade a little bit of damage back in. But Chandler Clark, had that Q landed, would have been a good trade back.
Yeah, and looking at it closer at top lane, you will see Darius win this matchup. Pretty good design. He did opt for Ghost, so if Renji opts for team play like he did last game with the TP and such, it will be hard for Nathaniel Laner to answer him, hoping to be able to get some lane kills and charge in. We did see him take Q level 1. I actually think that W level 1 for Darius is by far the best in any matchup where you have any sort of kill pressure. Because you just walk at someone, W them, easily get to 5 stacks and start beating them down with the better autos. And then just, like, you get W off cooldown again for a second one, and you can get some really, really good early lane pressure. It's still doing okay. Renji does trade back decently well. To keep him from just being in diving distance, do still have to worry about this shit. That's pretty good
Yeah,
damage.
every
We'll be
time
able
he
to
gets one
keep
of
it.
those big decimating smashes off, it's just like, wow, is he actually just gonna have to leave?
Yeah, and
Chandler
he
Clark
will
and
have
Gabe
to leave.
Kochski trying to pull the wave away from the tower.
Yeah, and the wave is bouncing back, of course, from Scion, so did force Nathaniel Laner back. That's pretty good. Won't be able to take full advantage of it with a bouncing back wave. Kind of like a cheater recall is, oh my gosh, just do it. Stole the Scuttle Crab.
That is so bad for Adam Suki. He's already 2 camps down, and now getting double crabbed. In a sense, I mean, like the jungler didn't get it. Yes, that's your consolation, but wow, that's really bad for the Zac.
Yeah, now do you flame the bot lane as the jungler for letting the bot laner come up and take it, or as bot lane do you flame the jungler for letting the enemy bot come up and take your crab from you?
Oh god. I definitely think that the bot lane's probably like, man, that sucks, but it sucks more for you than for us, right? Because like, oh gosh, he got 4 more CS, sort of. Okay, here we go. Ghost gonna be used by Ella's Rachel, and Nathaniel Laner actually flashes and goes away from the gank, and is gonna get hit by that undertow, hit by the Roar of the Slayer as well. Meanwhile, Just Do It actually burned Flash for no reason. I don't know why, but Just Do It splashes on cooldown.
Yeah, it is. Don't know exactly what happened there. Probably got a bit too close. Maybe Zach hopped over a wall since he was on bot side. Really nice timing on the gank from I Loves Rachel. Nathaniel Laner had to go back, had to recall, walk all the way back. He didn't come back with potions. Now both sums are gone. Wave's in a really good spot for Renji until he decimating smashed. It was going to push back into him, but now he gets pressure. And he would be at risk of dying if the wave wasn't, if both sums were down, because you just ghost and run at him as Darius. So we will back here, but that's good timing on the gank to get both sums off of Darius, who had just come off of reset. Gives a lot of freedom to Renji and how he wants to play this out. Can save TP walk back, can TP to other lane, TP and keep pressure up onto Darius, who won't get a reset off anytime soon. And yeah, so good there. We'll just ignore what happened with Just Do It since we didn't see it.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask. I've seen a number of different keystones on Vladimir. This game Rally has opted for the electrocute. Is this what you would? Is this kind of the standard, or is there not really a standard? It's kind of matchup dependent, and if so, is this what you would have taken?
So I actually think it's lane dependent for Vlad. I think mid lane electrocute is almost always better because you actually do a surprising amount of like burst and early game pressure. Like we saw it in lane where Ignite went down onto the Echo and almost killed him. Top lane, I think you do have to have phase rush just because of the nature of the matchups where it's a bunch of melees who kill you if they're close to you, and you're also in a long lane. So you need that phase rush, but electrocute mid
Wow,
I think
Adam
is the
Spooky
preferred
lands
option.
the elastic
It's
slingshot onto I Love's Rachel, pulls him in onto the Scuttle Crab. There's a smite and a lot of damage. The Ignite goes down in the game. Kochski, first blood goes over to the piercing arrow, and Nathaniel Lanier getting ganked by Hestega. They'll trade 1-for-1 back, but first blood goes over to the side of Mingos. Now they're gonna move
yeah.
on to Cloud Drake.
Yeah, doing so well with the Olaf. Bunch of camps ahead, Zack's behind. Then your mid lane goes top. You have no lane prio in either mid or bot, and you greed for a scuttle and die to it. So they're able to pick up there. Nice from top from Histega. He manages to punish the summoner Listarius, who had been pushing out. Manages to get something. That was really nice. Just big greed from I Love's Rachel to look for that scuttle with no champs in his area. And that will mean that the first dragon goes over to Mingos, which is a pretty big deal when, as the Olaf, you want to be stacking dragons to kind of force the enemy team to fight you in mid game while you're still strong. Instead of scaling up for early game, one of the reasons you do take Olaf is because he's good at taking those early drags. So that's a pretty big loss for Reign of Kings. They do at least get something topside for it and start his Stega getting strong to threaten those side lanes later in the game.
Yeah, I do think that this has kind of been a recurring trend with I Love's Rachel in both this series as well as overall in GRLCS, at least from what I've seen. Going for invades or crabs when when you have no business going for it. Rain Demon actually taking a good chunk of damage there. Chandler Clark now going to get rid of. Here's the unstoppable onslaught coming out. Summoner Heal comes out. Flash as well from Chandler Clark. They're going to flash for the Roar of the Slayer. Decimating Smash gets polymorphed. Oh, what an unfortunate flash for Renji. Teleport back into that top lane. Now they're going to go for the dive. I Love's Rachel and Hestega have found their way in behind. Gabe Kochki gets stunned up by the parallel conversions, and Chandler Clark is only level 5. Double kill goes over to the Olaf just before dying to the tower.
Yeah, really, really like that play from Renji. You have Scion ult, you can walk up halfway through lane, look for a kill. He had TP, hadn't used it yet, so he's still able to get top, not lose anything. Really like that. I like the stay for the dive afterwards too. You know they use their summoners, you know that they aren't quite 6 yet, so you can just dive them easily with Olaf, with Echo. Part I don't like is how early they went. I think that you sit and wait for the minion wave, even if it takes a while longer, because you saw Olaf just get murdered by the tower. So I think that was a mistake in what otherwise was a very good play. And it does net them 2 kills, plus the plate spot side, for pretty nice advantage overall.
I didn't see, but did Hestega start taking tower aggro, or did it just immediately jump onto I Love's Rachel? Because Hestega definitely should have started that, right? Because he has the Chrono Break.
I didn't quite see either. I believe that the first part was taken on Histega, it's just that the tower got charged up, and when it dropped onto the Olaf, it killed her in 3 hits. But I don't know for sure, but I do think that Histega started off. I at least think for parallel
They
convergence,
did it right
he was
in
tanking.
theory, at least. Adam Suki looking for the last slingshot over the wall. They don't have vision, just do it. Flashes away from it. Flash forward for the Q. They will get the strikes off. Encore comes out and charms up 3 members, but they just have to disengage because no one's coming. Chain of Corruption lands over the wall. On to just do it. Summoner Barrier is going to be used. Gets knocked into the air by Let's Bounce, and Chandler Clock picks up another kill. Decimating Smash goes down on to Nathaniel Lanier on the top side, but that big bleed stacks coming out, and he will get the flash Q for the kill. Renji goes into the little zombie form, is going to be able to finish off Nathaniel Lanier. Doesn't have to because the Undertow finishes off the kill.
And nice for I Love's Rachel to be in position to pick off that. Renji, just, this is what happens when you're in Darius matchup. You step up a bit too far that one time and he dies.
Hestega comes in on the bottom lane. There's the Ignite onto Gabe Kochki. There's the Wild Growth. Hestega has to Chrono Break away from Chandler Clark's Piercing Arrow because he does have those Blight stacks stacking up on top of him, as well as the Ignite Rally, just trying to force into the mid lane. Huge CS discrepancy in the mid lane off of these repeated roams for Hestega.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty big issue going forward. Does have the kills and assists to make up for it.
Uh-oh, here we go, another
You have a
unstoppable
fight.
onslaught. Meanwhile, they're gonna be a jungle fight. Adam Suki just getting focused down, and unstoppable onslaught into the bottom lane, and he's gonna be dodged away by Chandler Clark, but he's just gonna have to walk back into the game. Whoa, almost killed off just to win! Ilos Rachel does get the Zac passive, but gets shut down by the solo laners.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier. We talked about it. I Loves Rachel invading when she has no prio. Her top laner was bot, getting a kill. Well done. Almost turned back from Chandler Clark just with the damage, but does end up being a kill for both sides. Now we're going mid. Darius will have free time top. Won't be able to get Vlad. He's pretty slippery. And yeah, going back to it, Dragon's coming up soon. I feel like that'll be kind of where the game's direction is decided, because you do have a very strong Olaf. Stridebreaker's done. Kai'Sa's also decently strong. Vlad is going to have a pretty big back coming up with his CS numbers sitting on about 1500, so might be able to pick up Night Harvester or Rocket Belt in time for this drag coming up. So a lot of people with their mythics done, a lot of good spikes. Very important dragon, because you want to at least start stacking some of them for the side of Reign of Kings. As top lane Renji's getting beat up again. Has to be careful, don't let the 5 stacks keep up.
Oh, no, he's not gonna be dead yet. Nathaniel Laner taking a lot of tower shots and gets the shield back up. Reggie shuts him down. I think he dove because he knew Ilos Rachel was there. There is a control ward in the river, so he's like, I gotta try and get this kill because I'm gonna die anyway. But wow, very unfortunate. And Nathaniel Lane, you're going aggressive at the absolute worst time every time.
Yeah, I mean, we say worst time, but I think that, like, you show top is Olaf and Dragon's up, so you're just giving that objective. It's not like you have Herald to force the tower down as well. Starting it up now for Olaf, so we'll be able to grab it, but you didn't get it at the best time, which is having it right then to be able to knock down the entire top tower to try and swing the gold. So now it's 2 dragons away from Soul. For Mingos, they will, I think, have advantage later in game team fights, with between Vlad being so strong and Zac just being a better team fighter than Olaf is usually. So I think that Reign of Kings, it's a really good kill up top, but I do feel like Mingos got a bit more for it.
Yeah, okay, so taking stock, 30 CS discrepancy in the jungle and 43 in the mid lane for Rally because of Hastega just constantly roaming, getting advantages for his team, but coming at the cost of his own gold. Meanwhile, Unstoppable Onslaught is going to be used on Nathaniel Laner, does not quite get the ultimate knock-up onto him, and Nathaniel Laner is just going to get dove. Hastega doing a ton of damage. Renji happy to tank the tower for his mid laner to finish him off, and they get the Rift Herald to get a second charge off onto this top lane.
Yep, that was the response that I was saying they needed earlier. They are able to get 2 towers down, another kill onto the Darius. Really nice to shut him behind. Whoa, that's a flash.
A lot of damage here. Go Adam Suki elastic shots in. There's the Ragnarok as Renji is going very low, flashing away from him, but Adam Suki's down 2 levels. They're gonna get the kill on the dive onto the Zac. Chain of Corruption was invested in the bottom lane as well as the Wild Growth. 3 members really low in that top lane, but none of them have died. A lot gained there by Reign of Kings as Chandler Clark and Gabe Kochki, unfortunately not able to finish off anybody in this bottom lane.
Yeah, lots of fights going on. Bot lane, though, starting to go in favor of Mingos, and while there were 3 top, they got a lot from it. Vlad is now 55 CS up in the mid lane, and I believe got 3 plates from tower. Hastega making good things happen in side lane, but you do have to keep an eye on the hard carries, on the Vlad, on the Varus, who are getting very, very strong indeed. As things go forward. Varus is a bit less of an issue because Olaf will go in, but if he's too strong, then Olaf just gets burst down immediately. Sadly, not AP Varus. He is going the crit version. Unfortunately, I would have liked to see AP. Probably not because it's stronger, but just because we don't see it often. So it's more
yeah,
fun.
Right.
But
I Love Rachel about to doesn't quite find him. He did realize that he was there thanks to the sweeper, but not able to interrupt the recall. The dragon is not up for another 2.5 minutes, so I don't know. What are we doing here?
yeah, probably just priming back up. You will be able to get a top shove off. Try and get it as far as possible. Force Darius to deal with it without his lack of TP, and then move Scion with his TP into the area. Try and get control. It will be, I said it for the last one, it actually applies to this one where I think the direction of the game is going to be decided entirely on who does better / wins the dragon fight. Because if Mingos win it, they scale really well. They have Soul Point. If Reign of Kings win it, they can start coming back and doing a lot of good things.
Wow, Hemoplague is going to be invested. Hestega going very low, has the Chrono Break available, gets the big shield off, and Adam Suki taking a couple tower shots as well as the Z-Drive Resonance. Hestega flashes forward, but Rally will flash back onto him. Shutdown goes over to the Vladimir. Nathaniel later flashes away from the Decimating Smash after the Unstoppable Onslaught. Renchi going very low, and now he's 100% going to lose this fight. Gets caught by the Noxian Guillotine, though Zac passive is popped by I Loves Rachel, but here comes the bottom lane. Chandler Clark and Gabe Kochki. Oh, he doesn't finish him! Adam Suki does finally go down. A double kill goes over to the Olaf before Chandler Clark shuts him down.
Yeah, meanwhile, top lane, Renji died to Darius solo. It's one of those things where they spent so much time and attention getting Darius down, but he kind of does his thing anyway. Even when behind, it's not like Sion can suddenly magically fight him, especially when they're both fairly even item-wise. Meanwhile, big scrap mid, Histiga got a bit too antsy and got back in flash range of Empowered Transfuse Varus, or Vladimir. And then good cleanup from I Loves Rachel, but bot lane did have Prio to roam. They are able to get mid tower. Now we have Dragon coming in 45. Renji just top as well, so it will be him just getting a push. Of course, Darius so should be able to. He has to back, so Sion should be able to push one more wave and then ult down, or just start moving down now. But a lot of stuff. Checking ults. They will have, I believe, everything up. Flash is down for the mid laners, and no flash on the Zac, as we do get both teams kind of set up in the area for Dragon, and I think we'll have a pretty good fight here.
3 towers to 1 is the lead for Reign of Kings. Now I Loves Rachel going to get an undertow slow onto Gabe Kochki. Elastic Slingshot goes in, and there's Just Do It jumping into the backline with the killer instinct. Chain of Corruption comes out. Gabe Kochki gets caught by the Chandler Clark goes down as well. Just Do It is trying to keep himself alive away from Adam Suki. Jumps away from Nathaniel Lanier over the other side, and now they're doing the controversial 1-for-1 strat. And Nathaniel Lanier is going to get a heal off. Will be able to back away, but no! A Z-Drive Resonance finishes him out. Triple kill for Hesteg, and now Rally is going to be caught by the double onslaught. Goes underneath the pool. Rally's just going to try and survive as long as he can, but it's a decimating smash and a couple more kills. The ace for 1 in favor of Reign of Kings.
Ooh, said we get some good fights. That was a really good one from Reign of Kings. Mistake from Mingos. They come in with 2 face checking. Not everyone together. You didn't have everyone in position. So Lulu gets picked off immediately. Kais is able to go to the back line. Then Olaf, he's already on top of Lulu, and she ran right to her ADC, bringing a pet behind her, saying, "Can we keep it, Dad? I want to bring it home." Varus definitely did not want to keep that pet, as Olaf just able to get the kill along with the rest. From there, they're in a better position, kind of trickle in from the players of Mingos, and Reign of Kings able to take that down, get the dragon, get themselves a 4K gold lead, and get themselves control over the game.
Yep. Filed in 1 by 1 just to die to the United Reign of Kings. Mingos now down about 3,500 gold. The only thing they lost for that was the dragon and a few kills at the very least. They don't lose any more towers than they had already given, I guess, is the consolation there. But Adam Suki's down 2 levels to I Loves Rachel. This is just really not the place you want to be right now for Mingos.
Yeah, definitely could be better. Could be worse too.
The Stride Breaker and the Olaf Ragnarok. Chandler Clark gets the Wild Growth, but it doesn't matter. They're going to be able to finish him up. Staren's Gate Shield is too much from I Loves Rachel, and they're just going to take the kill onto him. Backing away as Rally comes around the side. They good Hemoplague onto 2. Just Do It going very low. Almost instantly popped. It will be the pop. There's the Parallel Convergence comes in. I Loves Rachel jumps back in. There's the Let's Bounce as Adam Suki now just surrounded. A huge amount of healing coming out for I Loves Rachel, and again, 3 members of Mingos just file in and die.
Gotta stop doing these scattered fights. Reign of Kings is playing together so much better, and just in terms of they have all their members on the grouping and on the same page when they want to fight. Even the summoner choice is kind of demonstrating it. Darius just stuck bot lane with his ghost, able to get some pressure, but team fights lost, and more kills in favor of Reign of Kings. Once again, don't really lose anything from it. They don't get any towers lost from Mingos. They don't lose Baron, but it is just kind of getting them further behind in gold lead, and you really don't want to be giving this Olaf the ability to just keep running through you.
Yeah, if it weren't for the fact that Just Do It did die instantly to Rally, that would have been Baron for Reign of Kings, but unfortunately for them, without the Kaisa, they don't have the best of Baron DPS, so good job for Rally, I suppose, but everybody just kind of running in one at a time and dying. It's not not just yeah, like you said, you gotta play more united. You know, support your Lulu walking in trying to get vision, things like that. And now Renji is gonna come in here. It's a 1v3 situation, but they don't really feel comfortable uh, hard committing onto the Scion, as it would have taken them too long and just do it and Randy Newman on the way down already.
Yeah, and meanwhile we do have push coming kind of mid. Echo is countering Darius top. I'm not sure who wins this one. Echo's doing a pretty good job so far, but the Ghost,
Here we go, the
a lot of
Ghost used
kiting.
by Nathaniel Lanier. Hastega has thrown down the Ignite. Good dodge on the Noxian Guillotine with the Chrono Break, and Nathaniel Lanier trying to use Vision to his advantage. Randy Newman gonna get a big heal up. Oh, the failed flash Q! And I don't think it would have mattered anyway. Just do it actually just... No! Died to the Hemoplague proc!
I want to know what happened there. I think he was moving up with Randy Newman to try and get it, but that's a big ult!
Encore on to 3! Hastega jumps in, doesn't have the corner break, it doesn't matter, and Chandler Clark gets flanked! Renji and the Ragnarok Olaf are just gonna run them down. Rally going into the pool, but he doesn't have the Hemoplague available. It's just gonna go down instantly.
Oh man, I think what happened is Just Do It was trying to move up with Seraphine to help the Echo in the 1v1. Bit of a fail from Nathaniel Lanier, didn't get the heal and also didn't keep all 5 bleed stacks up, so couldn't go for the quick ulti. Meanwhile, Just Do It going down once again big because it means no Baron for Reign of Kings. They aren't getting any towers either. Might get mid-wave now that Echo's moving over. Dragon is up in a minute, but yeah, just really big team fights going on. Once again, Varus able to just be gotten on by the entirety of Reign of Kings. Once again, Lulu going down along with them as fight mid, not too much going to happen, but it does mean that Zac is now chunked with 40 seconds to drag.
Yeah, that was a great encore from Randy Newman out of Fog of War, just catching all 3 of them. And Chandler Clark, they had the right member in front there, but Chandler Clark just gets flanked by Angry Olaf and Angry Scion, just running at him. Nothing you can do about that one, just stand there and die, I guess.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Dragon's coming up again. Darius once again pushing top lane, so he'll get outer, but you do have to give this Dragon. Double Infernal now to even up the count, and Infernal's a pretty good Dragon, very good soul, that you can't really afford to give over, and you want to be the one taking. So, yeah, once again, Darius just can't make it because he doesn't have TP, and I'm personally a bit biased for this because I'm a top laner who thinks you should always take TP, and I hate it when people go Ignite or Ghost in my lane and just look for solo kills. So I'm going to take this as validation that you should always have TP.
Hastega looking to disrupt any potential Baron. The Infernal Dragon has been secured, and they were trying to sneak the Baron while they were going for the Dragon, but Hastega sniffs it out. Is going to jump onto Rally now, get the Electrocute Rocket back away.
Yeah, and meanwhile, just mid-prio from Mingo because they failed the Baron attempt, because they got chunked out. Now they have a big wave, able to just run down mid, no one in position, but they do have to be careful. They're exposing Zac to the flank, and he made it.
He goes in for the engage, gonna pull in Randy Newman. Let's Bounce is gonna be mostly useless, actually. Their Encore is gonna catch 3 members, gonna root them all in place as the Olaf goes into Ragnarok. Good! Parallel Convergence stuns up 3 members as Zac goes into the passive. Nathaniel Lane, you're trying to find a way back in. Renji is doing a lot of damage. Hastega on the side does finish off the Zac passive. Is Just Do It now, autoing onto Rally. It's a 1-4-0 so far.
That was a really big fight. Not a lot of people actually died in it because of just how many defensive cooldowns there are. You have Pool, you have Parallel Convergence, you have double Enchanter support, you have Kaisa Shield, and they didn't manage to get to Varus this time, so he didn't pop immediately. And this is the first proper 5v5 fight I think we've seen instead of like 3v5 turning into picks. Oh my gosh,
and actually just popped.
Yeah, so going back to my point, this is what happens when Varus gets free fire. Pretty even fight, but then Echo's also pretty damn strong, and Jungler's dead, top laner's dead. Rest team's in the area, but I think this is going to be Baron for Reign of Kings.
Yeah, Rally can't get in there. It's going to be secured by Reign of Kings. Good smite comes down from I Loves Rachel. Really just nothing to be done there. Very unfortunate for Mingos.
Yeah, and that's just really, really good for them. Now they have Baron push with a good team comp, taking use of it. No one can match Echo at this point. He is actually mega strong. We saw he went legendary with that last kill. 3 item, including the Morellonomicon, which is good in the side lane against Darius and Vlad. So he can't really be answered, which means you have one pushing wave, and he, I think, half shots the tower with every E, plus the Baron minions. Meanwhile, the other 4...
Yet, so I guess there's that, right?
Yeah, 3-shot the tower with, or like 1/3 the tower with an E. You're right. But yeah, and the other four, like even if he's not there, pretty hard to deal with them because you're going into Seraphine, which is always a losing proposition. And if you go too far up, Olaf just runs through you and kills the Varus who's trying to follow. So yeah, really rough spot for Mingos. They do still have tools. Yeah, have a hard time sieging inside, and they
Uh-oh,
might have
Randy
just cut
Newman
out
in a bad
Randy.
spot here. Is going to get jumped on by Rally. Elastic Zinc are going to connect onto them. The Encore comes out. Randy Newman is just going to die afterwards to the proc. There's the Sanguine Pool. Sestega comes in for the Parallel Converges. Another great stun out of two members, and Nathaniel Laner just melting to just do it. Adam Suki in the backside. Rally going to get caught by the Polymorph and taken down. No, the Lulu's on his team. I don't know what I'm saying, but he did die anyway. And Hastega gonna flash forward. Nicely done with that Q off of the Time Winder. Will get the kill. It's an ace 4-1 in favor of Reign of Kings off of what looked like a pick on the Rainy Newman, but with his dying breath, throws out the Encore, gets a good charm up, and then the rest of the team comes and cleans up.
Yeah, and this might actually just begin. We've got 10 seconds on most member or on one
Baron
member.
minions. Yep.
15 as well with Baron. You have good tank options. They're pushing through it. Renji dropping aggro, so a bit less DPS, but they've got one tower. Varus is up now. Here comes Zac and Darius, but it is going to be 2 towers down, and are they going to get Nexus?
Yep, they will get it. Reign of Kings with the 2-0 will win the semifinal against Mingos and put themselves in a position to take down Pootie Tang Gang in the finals.
Really nice win. They just knew their victory condition, which was group up and do well. Really, really nice performance from Mistega as well. In these past few fights, he's done a great job one-shotting people, getting multi-man parallel convergence. Just well done overall. Mingos kind of split up, weren't always all in position for the fights, but Reign of Kings were, and they knew exactly when they wanted to go in, and that just made the difference as they won the fights, they managed to get everything down, and they won the game, and will be going to the finals for Flat Cats tomorrow.
Yeah, really nicely done. I think a lot of it, like you said, has to do with, I think that they planned not to have Nathaniel Lanier in a lot of those fights, but I don't know. I think when you're that behind, you either need to just like seed a lot more fights and seed a lot more of your area, or just like have Nathaniel Lanier, give up a little bit of that CS in order to come and be a part of those fights. Because, like you said, he did they spent a lot of time putting him down, and still he was able to 1v1 Renshi for a good amount of the game. But at the end of the day, Reign of Kings with a really great performance, get the 2-0, and they will be playing against Pootie Tang Gang tomorrow in the finals.
Yep, good win for them. That will be the end of the Platcat stream and of the GRLCS stream. Not sure if Get Rec 2 is still going on. I believe it is, so you can head over and watch that one for the last Diamond semifinals. But other than that, thank you all for coming. Had a lot of fun with the cast and with the games, and I hope you all have a wonderful night.
Yep. See you later.